We continue to follow breaking news out of the Middle East. U.S. officials just confirmed in the past few minutes 2 attacks on bases in Iraq.
Nadia Romero joins us live from Washington, D.C. with the very latest. Nadia?
Yeah, John and Jacqueline, this is a developing situation, but we are getting confirmation from the Pentagon, as you just mentioned, that 2 U.S. military bases have been hit with more than a dozen ballistic missiles. They say they clearly came from Iran. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is taking responsibility, at least for the first set of airstrikes on the Al-Assad air base there in Iraq. So we are still working to learn more about the damage assessments. We're being told that military officials there in Iraq are still trying to figure out what was damaged, if there are any deaths or injuries. And we do know that this base is a large base with a lot of expensive and high-tech military equipment that could have been damaged in this attack as well. And there are so many military families here in the U.S. that said goodbye to their loved ones. Some 3,000 troops were sent to Iraq just this weekend. We know that the White House says that President Trump, has been briefed, and he's now in meetings with his top national security advisors. We're also learning that Secretary of Defense Mark Esper just spoke with the Iraqi Prime Minister. So this is all a very much a developing situation as we learn more about what's going on in Iraq right now.
Mark Esper had said that it's up to Iran to de-escalate now this situation. They don't want a war, but what will that exactly mean for Iran to do at this point?
Yeah, and he was asked about that in his press conference today. Mark Esper says that this was not an act of war when the U.S. Did that airstrike that killed Soleimani. He said that it was in an effort to avoid war and that Iran was to de-escalate the situation. But we know from Iranian leaders that they saw that as an act of war, an act of terror, and they promised a series of retaliation over a long period of time. And so many experts feared that something like this may happen. Mark Esper says that this attack was done, the attack on Soleimani, in order to avoid a war, and that there was an imminent danger, an imminent threat to U.S. lives. So now we are seeing how things are playing out, and really rather quickly.
And it appears that the administration said they expected some sort of attack to happen, and that some of these missiles, not all of them, but some of them did not make impact on the air bases. So some of them were able to be intercepted, it sounds like, in this initial reporting.
And we're learning that many of these air bases, or these military bases in Iraq and in the general Middle East, were on high alert, right? So after the killing of Soleimani, we know that U.S. citizens and those who were abroad were told to leave the Middle East, especially leave Iraq, Iran, Syria, leave those areas right after the attack. And those military bases have been on high alert ever since, knowing that something like this could happen. So yes, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard is claiming responsibility for at least one out of the 2 attacks, but we don't have a clear idea of a damage assessment right now.
Or a casualty assessment, for that matter, and that's really what people are waiting to hear, if anyone was injured or killed. All right, Nadia Romero, thank you for your reporting.